What hidden truths are being unearthed in the archaeological digs around the world? What are the secrets that they reveal? And perhaps more importantly, what does our past tell us of our future? Time to excavate further here on Things Visible and Invisible. Patricia, the last time we spoke, you were talking about the narrative, who controls it and how it is controlled. One of the ways in which you are a disruptor is somebody who goes to these special places, these sacred places, and unearths hidden histories, I guess. Now, you're just about to head off on an expedition to a very mysterious place in Turkey, which is not very well known. Tell us what it is and why we should know about it.
Okay, well, first of all, I'm heading out not immediately, but I'll be going to inspect it in later this year, and then I'll be bringing a sacred tour of people at the beginning of next year. The place is called, well, it's Turkey, full of sacred sites. But one of the ones that is most exciting is Göbekli Tepe. Now, this site, there are all kinds of rumors of how they discovered it. Basically, I mean, I've heard everything. The recurring story is that a goat herder was walking across his land and he stumbled on a rock that when he looked at it, it looked strange. And the next thing you know, the archaeologists were in and they were uncovering this extraordinary temple, which it is now considered the oldest temple ever to be revealed on the planet, dating back way past the pyramids, etc., 10,000 years, something like that. Very strange carvings. It is really exceptional. And in the meantime, since they first discovered it and started digging, they're finding more temples. It's a huge complex. And they're digging and digging and digging and just finding more and more. So there's a big controversy about this place again, because it rewrites history. The Egyptians want to hold on to this notoriety that they are the ancient world. The Great Pyramid is the last of the 7 great wonders of the world. They don't want any interference. They didn't want Bosnia to come out and say it was older. And now Göbekli Tepe is pushing the narrative. So it's a remarkable place. I can't wait to visit it. And now there are other temples where they're revealing quite an extraordinary civilization, which rewrites the whole history of this planet. And not that far away is where the finding of this alleged Noah's Ark is not that far away. So what I believe is that Turkey is revealing itself now and coming to life with revelations that could very much make it the center of the ancient world. It's very exciting. And so I have to go because if it's there, I have to go.
Absolutely. Do you, I mean, from your researches and what have you, do you think there's a link between these temples, this temple complex, and Noah's Ark? Do you think there's some sort of nexus in those two events?
That's a very good question. I'm not sure, but because Noah's Ark would have been, if you take Noah's Ark from the biblical perspective, it would have been much younger than this temple. So if you follow the story of Noah, this temple would have been underwater. Right. So it could have been that it was, excuse me, so old that it was already underground and then the water was on top of it. You follow me? So if it's 10,000 years old and it was buried, then perhaps when it's very doubtful that the flood story isn't real. So if there was a great flood, it could very well be that it was protected underground and never witnessed. But there is a mystical sort of magical question: is what a coincidence that Noah's Ark, if it is in fact discovered to be that, would be lodged in Mount Ararat or south of Mount Ararat, so close to this civilization. It's fascinating. And I would like to, if I may, expound on the question of Noah's Ark. Shh, sorry, I have dogs.
That's okay. Well, it's very appropriate you have a dog when you're about to talk about Noah's Ark. No, Patricia,
Probably
absolutely.
tuned in. I
What?
wanted to say about Noah's Ark that I have a theory that this ark did exist, and I believe that they've found it actually, and that what was represented as him gathering all the animals of the planet, which is pretty ridiculous, could very well be that what he gathered was the DNA of all the animal species on the planet. Because let's remember that it's very possible that the ancients had access to extraordinary information, very possibly or probably from aliens, because we have all kinds of records in everywhere that the planet was repeatedly visited by alien travelers. It's in the Sumerian clay tablets, it's in Mesopotamia, it's in the Egyptian. I went into a place in Egypt where there were craft depicted in the carvings. So very possibly he had access. Some say God. Possibly he had access to alien information on how to gather the DNA of these different species of animals. And so could it be that, like the seed bank that's in Norway, it's called Svalbard, they have a seed bank of every supposedly flora that exists on this earth before they started tampering with GMOs. They gathered all the seeds. And there's a place in Svalbard, Norway, called the seed bank, where all these seeds are kept in semi-frozen conditions in this seed bank, awaiting what? Isn't it sort of like a Noah's Ark?
Mm.
The dog says yes. So my contemplation is, wouldn't it be interesting if there's truth to the Noah story, and that what he was saving was the DNA or the sperm or seed or eggs of so many animal species?
Now, this is interesting in the sense, Patricia, that some of your recent writings have been around a sort of manipulation of genetic coding
Yes.
for rather sinister reasons. That's certainly the thesis of your last book. Is there a warning in history then from Noah's Ark and this temple as you read it?
Well, more than a warning, I think first of all, not too many people believe, as I do, that Noah's Ark contained this DNA wealth of a library, but that aliens intervened on this planet. I think we're all getting around that now. It's out of the fluff area and into reality, and they are doing everything to let us know. The disclosure movement is coming out of NASA rapidly now. So that we were visited repeatedly is not that far-fetched, and that other civilizations would have an understanding of genetic manipulation, it's not that far-fetched either. And I deal with this in a lot of my books. So now that we humans know how to manipulate DNA, the first question is, are we tapped into alien technology once again? You know that Eisenhower supposedly met with aliens at Andrews Air Force Base back in the 50s. Did he trade for alien technology? Did he trade? The rumor is he gave the aliens access to the human race in exchange for technology information. And there's a lot of controversy about whether that's true or not, but something happened there. And suddenly we've gone through these giant leaps technologically in the last 50 years. It's ridiculous. We now are, I mean, the supercomputers are potentially mutating the magnetosphere of our planet. It's like, you guys want to play with genetics. That's one thing. You're going to now, with your AI, you're going to disrupt the galactic essence of the planet. What's going on here? And where are the controls? And the answer is there's no control. They're free to do what they want. So I think I just lost the point of your question. but maybe I answered.
Well, I'm just thinking as you're speaking there, Patricia, the temple that you're going on your pilgrimage to. Um, are we clear about what it was that was? I mean, the questions you will almost certainly be asked by your guests as you take them there will be who made this and why did they make it? What sort of answers do you give to that? And do they have any kind of resonance with some of the stuff you're talking about for today here in this 21st century?
I'll know a lot more when I get there and I can feel, because as a psychic, when I go to a place, I pick up information that's more than just the physical manifestation. So I have that to look forward to. But at the moment, nobody knows anything about this civilization. Because it's so old, and it, like I said, it breaks through the storyline, the historical storyline. So at the moment, archaeologists are examining and studying the figures. The animals are very strange. The depiction of the human is strange. It is a very, very ancient civilization. We don't know yet what that means. Is it an earth? Uh, is it a civilization that fits the historic timeline from Cro-Magnon man to Homo sapiens? Or could it have been a civilization that was deposited here? It's very easy for me to imagine that aliens visited here and possibly stayed. Because if you look at, we're talking about migrating to Mars, migrating to the moon. We're becoming an interplanetary civilization, right? And Elon Musk is pushing for that. It's not hard to go a step further and think that at many times, possibly even now, other extra planetary civilizations have stopped off on Earth and gone, ooh, nice place. And maybe temporarily built civilizations and then left, or perhaps went inside. There are a lot of people that think there are alien bases underground. All of these things, so exciting that these things are starting to be explored very seriously, not just by the disruptors like me, but by the scientists, by NASA, coming out with discoveries almost every day.
But there's an element to this, Patricia, which is that perhaps if these visitations were taking place or had taken place or are still taking place, that they're not benign, that there is a malignant aspect to this. I mean, is there a way in which this is also maybe seen in things like you've written about, AI and transhumanism, that this idea of this kind of strange morphing of species, etc., is it not something which is consistent with viewing these alien visitors, if indeed that's what they are, as something which doesn't have human beings' best interests at heart?
You do ask wonderful questions. I I think that if we study the Sumerians and the Babylonian era and times, always the adulation for the gods and sacrificing a lot of times to the gods. And many civilizations did blood sacrifices to the gods, which is we look back and we see all these depictions of the gods, and many of them look like aliens. Let's not forget the the lid on the coffin of Pakal Voltan, who was the last pure Mayan spiritual king. I had the great honor of getting into that tomb. It was not allowed, but they let me in. And, that's the one where you see him in position. It's very clearly that he's in a craft. There's a tubes and it's like a motorcycle about to take off. And so I think that throughout time, it's very, very possible, almost impossible to believe otherwise, that we had these visitations and that some of them were benign. For example, the Egyptians have Thoth, who taught how to write. They brought wisdom, which is very typical of an alien storyline. They taught how agriculture. They did great things for a lot of primitive civilizations. But I think now we don't have a benign situation. Back to that, I wouldn't think they were completely benign, but if you've got blood sacrifice, is that the humans interpreting what they need to do to keep the gods happy, or was that the gods demanding it? Can I continue?
Yes, please.
So now I'm quite concerned that there is some sort of alien, synthetic hive mind control civilization that's trying to take over the human race. It's kind of a heavy thing to say, but I believe that. I believe it's almost like a Star Trek storyline where this civilization that is technologically very possibly all connected into some gigantic artificial intelligence control network is like, oh, let's take over this, and intent upon, which is the theme of my book, Hacking the God Code, stripping us of that God connection that is in the DNA and rewriting it, as Harari said, to connect us to the Borg, to make us Borgs.
Well, I think in our last conversation, Patricia, you said something quite, very interesting, very intriguing, which was you were talking about your generation, which I think I belong to as well. And we knew the world prior to the internet. We knew the world prior to cell phones, certainly. And you said that we were more human. There was more human interaction and more humanity on display. I mean, in very simple ways, I guess. And just listening to you there, I mean, this idea of a malignant force, which is, as you say, robbing us of really what our humanity is. I mean, do you see a link between that? I mean, that ultimately the sort of AI revolution, with the link to transhumanism and the futurists, for example, who want us to basically be a download in some machine. You're right, you've referenced Star Trek, and we could think about Stanley Kubrick's 2001 and other examples of where the machine goes out of control and things result badly for all concerned. I mean, I suppose the question I'm asking, Patricia, is the future as dystopian as you have said in your book?
Always the optimist. I want to believe that this pendulum is going to swing back. And one of the ways that could happen is if these kahunas of technology actually scare themselves, which I believe is starting to happen. Elon Musk has said, oh my God, we could destroy ourselves with AI, even though he's a big creator of robotics, etc. And recently, CERN, which is a very dangerous situation, the Hadron Collider in Europe, they turned on their super AI computer, and for a couple of nanoseconds, it altered the magnetosphere of the planet. It registered that something was jolting the magnetosphere of our planet. No magnetosphere, no planet. So they shut it down. And I think they got scared. And my hope is that sanity will somehow reign, and the man's fear of what they're doing will somehow shut it down. But I do believe that there's an alien force that is generating this runaway technology, and they make it look good. I can't even use my computer anymore. It's all AI interfering with everything I'm trying to do, and I don't want it, and I can't do without it, because the Macintosh has got this new system software, and you use it or you can't operate. It's just this drive. It's very, very rapid now. They've speeded up a lot in the last 2 years. And so my hope is that we become conscious enough to say, wait a minute, and stop it. And it starts, by the way, with this. People have got to unplug from their phones. Because as I tell everyone, This is not your device. It's theirs. This is your control system right here. And, here I live on an island in the middle of the Atlantic off of Portugal. 10 years ago, there weren't that many cell phones here, and people were much more relaxed. Now I went to a cafe the other day. There were 6 guys. They were 20, all sitting around a table. In the past, they'd be talking about football, flirting with the girls. No, they were all 6 glued to their phone. And I'm like, what is so important about whatever you're doing with your phone that everything around you is irrelevant? If this is not transhumanism, I don't know what is. But people give themselves away to it because it's convenient and it's hip and cool. And that's how they're doing it, slowly taking us through step by step. Now, the next step is the AI takeover. I mean, I'm a writer. Somebody said, why don't you write a new book? And I said, well, I just haven't got time to breathe right now. Well, give it to AI. I said, what? Give it to AI. You put in the idea, the AI will write it in an hour. I said, so what of the poetry? What of the soul? You want me to turn that over to a machine? I don't get it. Is that what you want to read now? And people say, oh, Patricia, you're a little uptight about this. It's the future. It's not my future. Never happened. So hopefully we will pull ourselves back. And I do think, I'm hearing that the new generation, what is it, Gen Z, Gen X, I don't know the terms. A lot of them are starting to reject technology. It's very hopeful to hear that.
Yes, this is extremely sobering, Patricia, but also extremely intriguing. And tell people where they can find. Unfortunately, we've come to the end of this segment together, but it's very thought-provoking. Tell people where they can find out more about you, the work that you do, and also your many books.
So I'm a writer, I'm an artist, I'm a screenwriter too, and I also have a YouTube channel. So they can find all of the links for this on my main website, which is simply patriciacori.com. And that's Patricia Cori, all attached. And my last name is spelled Cori. And I'm kind of all over the internet, so they'll find me.
Patricia, thank you so much for coming on Things Visible and Invisible.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of Things Visible and Invisible. We're dedicated to uncovering phenomena that challenge our understanding of reality, from ancient enigmas and paranormal encounters to scientific anomalies and forgotten histories. If you enjoyed this journey into the mysterious and unexplained, please consider subscribing to our channel and hitting the notification bell to stay updated on future explorations. Have a personal experience or story that aligns with our investigations? We'd love to hear from you. Visit our website at tvi.show and reach out through our contact form. While we can't feature every submission, we review them all, and your story might be featured in an upcoming episode. To support our continued investigations, please consider becoming a Patreon supporter or channel member. Your contributions make these explorations possible and give you access to exclusive content, early releases, and monthly behind-the-scenes discussions with our team. Don't forget to check out our merch store. We've got everything from TVI-branded t-shirts and hoodies to stickers and coffee mugs, perfect for showing your support while keeping the mysteries close. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time as we continue to explore the things visible and invisible.